What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Get this, the negotiations have hit another snag. Usyk's promoter responds to Fury's demands. He said, "This is sports. Go to Hollywood if you want that kind of money." The promoter of Oleksandr Usyk isn't convinced that Tyson Fury deserves a bigger slice of the financial pie. Fury, the WBC title, is from Manchester, England, and Usyk, the WBO, the WBA, the IBO, the IBF champion from the Ukraine, are in deep talks to fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Their negotiations recently reached a roadblock after apparently failed attempt to stage the fight in the Middle East. Both fighters would be paid generously and huge amounts if the fight took place in the oil kingdom. The organizers are pivoting to England, where London's Wembley Stadium could end up becoming the destination for the fight. Now, however, the issue comes down to money. Unlike the Middle East, where both fighters would be paid handsomely through separate arrangements with the backer, the fighters now have to share the pot. Crosshook informed BoxingScene.com that he does not intend to back down from anything less than 50-50 split. When it was pointed out that some have argued that Fury is entitled to a bigger portion of the monies because he is a significant draw in the homeland and thus would be driving sales, Crosshook offered a rebuttal, citing that Usyk's 3 belts to Fury's 1. "Yeah," he said, "but how can you justify this? Just because he's English doesn't sound like a big justification," Crosshook said. He said, "From the other side, Fury can say, okay, it doesn't matter to me who I'm fighting, whether it's Usyk or the man from the supermarket. I can still sell out Wembley Stadium. But come on, man, this is sports. It's not just about professional boxing. Go to Hollywood if you want to make that kind of money. If you're the king, you've got to prove it. Prove it against the guy with 3 belts. Still, despite all the recent negative hoopla, Crosshook is confident that he can cut a fair deal with Fury's representative, Frank Warren's Queenberry Promotions in the next few days. He said, "I anticipate that we will have a good chance to do so," Crosshook said on finalizing the agreement. "I'm really optimistic. The only thing that can damage the fight is Fury. Usyk is flexible. Money never touched his heart. He knows if he's successful in the ring, money comes his way. But the only concern I have is Tyson's attitude. If Tyson is afraid to lose his popularity, to lose the status he has now, and against Usyk, he has the biggest chance to lose it. He may not be flexible. He might ask for a bigger share to justify his risk. Probably for him, this is the riskiest fight in boxing, but deep in my heart, I believe he has the heart of a warrior and he will accept the fair conditions and will not walk around. Then we can make this fight in the next 3 days." Those are the words of Alex Crosshook, the manager of Oleksandr Usyk. And let me counterpunch. First of all, we have to know if Tyson Fury's actually going to be flexible. Will he agree to something fair? If they won't budge from 50-50, I think the whole idea of the 50-50 is too definite. Why? Because that's the whole pot, okay? They messed up or screwed up or whatever you want to call it in the Middle East. That was probably the best hope. Now you have to come down to a split, okay? Now, how they're looking at it is totally wrong. I think how they should look at it, they should look at it as 40%, 40%, okay? And whoever wins gets an additional 10%, and then whatever the other 10% goes to whoever. You know what I mean? I think it should be like that. And I think the winner should be awarded the extra split, and it should be in writing that the winner of this particular bout, that's if it's not a draw, right, should get that extra split. Because at this point, Tyson Fury claiming that he is the pay-per-view king and all that, that's not true. That's just not true. Usyk has beat him in the last 2 fights. His fight was Derek Chisora was 1 point something million. Tyson Fury's last fight with Derek Chisora was 200 some thousand or something, 300 maybe. So that's not comparable. And we all know the Joshua comparison. So, I think, and there's a reason why Tyson wanted to fight Joshua, because he's British, and then they know he brings in the numbers and he sits buns on the seats. Okay, so, Usyk has been 24 rounds with him in 2 fights. So those particular sales reflect Usyk as well as Joshua. Okay, so they have to take in account. However, I think it's premature to call Tyson Fury that. I think Tyson Fury should understand that, this is the reckoning. This is the answer to who is the best, who should be considered the best, and who will send on to be the final king. Joshua's out as of right now. Wilder was defeated by Tyson Fury. So is Fury and Usyk, because Usyk beat Anthony Joshua, right? So it's only these 2 guys. And for them arguing over who's bigger now, it's premature, because we don't know who's bigger now. We can count dollars and cents, and we can count the amount of money that they made. And yeah, Usyk would win that too. But the whole thing is, if the fight needs to get made, I think the ego needs to get checked at the door. Okay. Now let's look at this though. Krusik said that Usyk, money's never touched his heart, but he won't budge from 50-50. I kind of understand that, simply because you don't know what the 50-50, you don't know what the whole pot is, because the whole pot represents the success of the fight. Okay, it's not a guaranteed hunk of money like it was in Saudi Arabia, So this is all unfamiliar. And if it's any consolation to any of you guys, by comparison, okay, Usyk never had these problems with Joshua or Matchroom or any of this type of issue. None of these mattered, because the first Usyk fight, he was awarded a certain amount of money guaranteed. The second fight, the same thing. Why should this fight now stick out? Because it does, because it's a different fighter. And if it tells you anything about Tyson Fury and Queensberry, they're not Matchroom. They may be doing well because Matchroom is not doing so good because of the losses that their top fighters, have had. But they don't handle the money well, neither do they have the guarantee of the money that Matchroom and those fighters have, i.e. Canelo and Joshua and the rest of them. So it's not a fact of putting anybody down. It's the fact of looking at facts. And the facts are that Usyk is in a situation where he's unfamiliar. That's why the split has to be done. But the only way I think it can be done is a clever way of whoever wins, if they're both confident they can win. Okay, well, the other 20 or the other 20%, okay, should go to the winner, or 10 or whatever, however they want to slice it. But the winner should be awarded something, versus they should both get 40%, 40% over here, 40% over here for both fighters. And then the 20% goes to the winner. That's how that should be. Because Fury, this isn't the first time he's let his ego get the best of us. Remember him coming back to the sport of boxing, though. He said he wanted 500 million pounds. And people was like, who are you going to fight to get that? You might get that with Joshua, but that has to be if Joshua totally resurrects himself and Joshua beat Usyk to be a 3-time world champion. That was probably the only possible way he could get anywhere near that, and he wouldn't have 500 million pounds by himself. He may have 500 million pounds to split between him and Joshua if they were going to fight, but there's nobody else that could bring up that type of money. But the delusion of grandeur that someone has due to their ego, right, could make that happen. Okay, so in that ego could be a reason why this fight doesn't happen. I hope it does. And I'm glad that they're still optimistic. But him saying, hey, you need to go to Hollywood. Yeah, he really probably does need to go to Hollywood. But even Hollywood doesn't have that type of money to give to them if he's not a star guy. And that's probably a series of mini movies, not just one night. So I think people need to realize the amount of money that prize fighters can make in one night, you know? And I think they drug it to Wembley because they wanted to make concessions or have these concessions like this um, so they can make these type of demands. And it really may blow up in their face. That's why you have Bob Arum and Frank Warren looking for other possible outlets as well, you know, which I don't think it's fair. I think they should really focus on hand. But I am glad that they shut that Deontay Wilder Secret Talks Part 4 shit down, because we don't need a Part 4, and we definitely don't need a Part 4 now. Okay. But back to Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, we have to know what Tyson says. We have to know what he's willing to do. And and here's the thing: if Usyk is not going to budge, okay, we have to make this. You got to be fair about it. If Usyk doesn't want to budge from the 50-50 because he doesn't know what the split is, it's going to be hard for anybody else to be flexible as well. Or put it this way: if Usyk is not budging from 50-50, it only leaves the counter open for Tyson Fury to be just as stern. You know how this goes. If you go into a meeting and you're not budging from 50-50, what else do you have to offer financially? There's nothing else that you... Well, he ain't budging. Well, we ain't budging. You know what I mean? So this could be a case of, hey, I'm not doing this because he's not doing this. Tit for tat. You know, so, you know, I don't think that that's a good way to come across, you know, but hopefully let's see what happens in this case with Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. You guys tell me what you think. I know this was a little long. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.